Okay, so our next topic is all about writing the best profile possible. And our poll question here is, it's a good one, this. Would bad spelling in a dating profile put you off? Yes or no? Would bad spelling in a dating profile put you off? Kate, first of all, though, spelling aside, how to write a really winning profile?
So the profile, if we thought the photos were something that you can worry about, you just wait till it comes to writing your profile, because all of a sudden all your writing skills will leave you and you'll be sat there with a blank piece of paper thinking, how can I sum up 60 years of awesomeness into like 2,000 characters that they give me? So my first tip will be, don't get caught up in perfectionism, because your profile isn't a thing like a marble sculpture that you just make once and leave it there for posterity. You can be updating and changing your profile as often as you like. In fact, making changes to your profile is a really good thing to do in online dating, because it tells the dating website like Our Time that you're very active and you're actively searching, you're actively updating your profile. And that makes the website send your profile higher up in the search results to other people, because it says, well, this person's committed, let's get them out there, let's like show them off. So think, when we talk about writing this, I don't want you to think this is like a one-time thing. Writing a profile can be an ongoing process, and really it's not as important as the photograph. So if you got your photographs right with 80% of your time and attention, then the 20% you've got left for your profile, it's not that important. You can't get this wrong.
Okay,
not that wrong. Bit wrong.
So what are the main things that people do need to write about in an Our Time profile?
So when you create your Our Time profile, there are 4 sections that you'll have to fill in. The first one is your personal ad. Then there are various checkboxes for things like your weight, your height, your views on marriage, things like that. There's the I am looking for section where you describe your perfect person. And then there's just a fun your answers section where you can give your views on hypothetical questions. So there are 4 main bits.
Okay, is there one that's better to start with than another?
Right, lots of people start by trying to write the profile text, but to be honest, I would skip down below the profile box and just get started on those checkboxes, because you're going to find that when you're doing the checkboxes of height, weight, whether you've been married before, if your kids live at home or not, if you live with flatmates, whatever, you're giving a lot of necessary but dull information. You're kind of getting that out of the way, and then you can concentrate on writing your profile in much more lighthearted about you as a person, your personality, and you don't then feel sort of as likely to write it like a CV. Like I've been widowed for 5 years and I do a lot of charity work, and you can put all that stuff in the boxes. Yeah, so start with the boxes.
Okay, great. How honest should people be when they're writing about themselves?
Right. There's an amazing book that I recommend everyone reads, especially women, because it's recommended for us. It's called Have Him at Hello, and it's by Rachel Greenwald. And what she did is she followed up on men who had taken women out for a first date but hadn't asked them out for a second date. And she literally did what we would love to do, which is kind of grill them on the phone and say, why didn't you ask her out again? The number one reason why men weren't following up for a second date was unmet expectations. And I want you to remember that every time you're tempted to lie on your online dating profile, you're setting someone up to have unmet expectations. Because if you say that you're 50 and in fact you're 67, you may look a fantastic for 67, but be a great looking 67. Don't be a sudden like a not 50, if you know what I mean, because the first few minutes of the date someone's gonna be going 50, yeah, like maybe. So yeah, be honest, be honest.
Great. We've got a question to do with that, actually. It's been sent in by Diane, who's 58, and Diane says, or she asks, is it bad if I put myself as 54, not 59? She must be nearly 59. My male friend showed me pics of women on the site before I joined, and they look so much older than me. I thought if men think that most 59-year-olds look so old, that they'll go younger. So she's saying, sorry, it says 58, she's actually 59, but should she put herself 5 years younger because she looks it?
Diane, do you think it's bad when a man says he's 6'2", but he's really 5'10"? I would put that to you. It's the same kind of thing. Don't be tempted to, Diane, you're overthinking. I love that you're thinking about it, but I think you're thinking about it a bit too much. Be the best you that you can be. Whatever your real age is, use that and let fate decide. Because remember, you're only trying to find one person. But having said that, it's really good that you are looking at other people's profiles on the site. So I always recommend people to check out the competition in your area. Like before you've signed up for your proper profile, create a profile. Say if I were doing it again for the third time and I was a woman looking for a man, I would set up a quick profile as a man looking for a woman in my area, in my age range, and I would check out the other women who are around and see the kind of photos they're using, or see if they're all using the same kind of cliches like I like curling up with a DVD or long walks on the beach, and then think about what I could do slightly differently to attract people's attention, and then create my proper profile as me, as the best ultimate me. But Diane, don't lie.
Excellent. What's the next section to come to, Kate?
So after you've got your checkboxes all about you, so your height, weight, marriage, all that kind of thing, then you get the I am looking for section, or the I am suddenly going to turn into the pickiest, fussiest person in the world section, as it really turns out, because this is where you can specify the type of person that you're looking for. And to a certain extent, these are the type of people that the Our Time website will show to you, because it says that you want someone who's 65 and 6'2". So as far as possible within your area, your geographical area, it will serve those people up to you. I don't want you to get too fussy though, because you don't want to treat this like you're ordering a perfect, like a build a boyfriend or build a girlfriend experience where you can specify everything, like everything, because you're going to miss a lot of people. I worked with someone at a live event that I did a couple of years ago who was so fussy. We worked out she had screened out George Clooney, she had screened out every Hollywood heartthrob because her boxes were so specific. So it's fine to have deal breakers, we'll talk about those later on, but don't get too fussy in this section when it comes to height. My husband is 6'2", and seriously, he's the tallest man I've ever been with. The only benefit I have found in having a really tall husband is that when we're in a Marks and Spencer's, I can spot him really easily. But that is the only benefit that I have seen. So don't get too fussy, because women get fussy about height and men get fussy about age or physical appearance. That when you're filling out your profile, one of your checkboxes will be how attractive do you think you are? And I don't know any woman, as gorgeous as she is, who is going to feel confident enough to tick the very attractive box. So men, when you're looking at this, please don't specify only women that say that they're very attractive, because most women are quite shy or quite damning about their own appearance. And it's going to be an unusually confident woman who would have that. So be flexible in your choices. Again, if over time, the sort of wide checkboxes that I've just told you to do, where your height range, if you are going on dates with people and it's not working for you that they're 5'6", you tried but it isn't, you can always adjust that later on.
Yeah.
But good. Another really interesting thing that I have to mention, the way online dating is now, it's so clever. So you're specifying what you want in this section, like sort of hair color, height, all that kind of thing. But every time you use the site, it's actually learning the type of people that you are attracted to by your behavior on the site. So when you have the section at the beginning where you can kind of flick yes or no through profile pictures, do those as much as you can, because that's how the computer learns who you're really interested in. Like when I was doing online dating second time around, I thought I wanted a man who had black hair and blue eyes, because that's always been my type. So I specified, going really fussy, breaking all my own rules, black hair, blue eyes. But I kept clicking on pictures of silver foxes, like men with grey hair were just totally doing it for me. And my husband has got grey hair. And so after a while of me clicking on all these grey-haired men, like, yes, 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 suddenly my matches were starting to include more and more grey-haired men. And that's how we met. So use the site as much as possible, because it learns what you like, and let it become like your wingman. It knows you better than you know yourself.
Great. So basically keep an open mind.
Yes, keep an open mind. But when it comes to clicking on photos, obviously click on people that you do like. And that's another way of telling the site the kind of people that you're attracted to.
Brilliant. Great. And next in the profile?
So next you have your personal advert section. So this is where you have 2,000 characters, not that I recommend you use all those, but you have 2,000 characters to write all about yourself. The purpose of this section is not to lay your life story out like a book. The purpose of this section is to intrigue people enough to spark their interest so they write to you. That's the main goal of this section. So the most I want you to do is to write 2 paragraphs about yourself and then 1 about the type of person that you're looking for.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, great. Now, you won't be surprised to know that we've had masses of questions about writing a profile. Carrie, who's 52, asks, 3 things, please, that I should put in my profile and 3 things that I shouldn't put in my profile. Okay,
3 things to put in your profile. Something that you like doing. So our time is absolutely brilliant on matching people up with their hobbies and the activities they like to do.
Yeah.
So make sure you include something that you like doing, because when someone reads that, they can visualize spending time with you. And like we said, online dating is such a visual experience. You want them to start daydreaming about going boating with you, or trying that new restaurant, or having a green tea, or whatever you've said. The second thing you should include is a compelling piece of information, ideally something quite challenging. I know that we've had quite a lot of really good responses when women especially put something challenging in their profile, like no one can beat me at Monopoly, like no one. And all of a sudden, hang on, let me take you up on that challenge. So something like that. And thirdly, information presented like a story. So don't just say, I love to travel, because everyone can say that and it tells me nothing about you. So instead, present your love of traveling in a kind of story form, like, you won't believe the amazing thing that happened to me when I was in Guadalupe 6 years ago. And then sort of say a funny story like that to start creating a picture of who you are. 3 things not to include. Firstly, no mention of exes. Even if the relationship was long, lovely, very happy, don't mention it, because you only have 2,000 characters. 2,000 characters is nothing really. And if you've mentioned your ex in there, we can only assume that your ex is still really, really important to you, which is maybe like you wouldn't mention your ex on a first date, probably. So I wouldn't put it in your profile, because it will make us wonder, sort of like, should you have left it a while longer before you started dating? Secondly, don't put anything negative about online dating. Like, you wouldn't believe, or you may have seen this yourself when you've been reading profiles. A lot of people start their advert with, I can't believe I'm doing online dating. Like, has it come to this? But everyone who's reading your profile is doing online dating, so it's kind of insulting to your audience. So don't put anything negative about the experience, and avoid shopping lists. Avoid I'm looking for someone who's tall, thin, rich, generous, trustworthy, loyal, because shopping lists put people off. They put men off, they put women off. And often it can be it's almost like when you're reading the specifications in the job advert and you think, oh, I've got that. I haven't got that. I better not contact you. So no shopping.
Great. Excellent. And we've got a question from Christopher, but can I just interject there and say nobody's ever beaten me at Cluedo? Just wanted to throw that in. Christopher asks, along the same lines as Carrie, any more hints, please, on what to put in or leave out of a profile? Anything else you'd like to add?
The best way to think about writing your profile is, imagine you're introducing yourself to someone at a party. So almost literally do that out loud and write it down, or write your profile certainly and then read it out to see if it's working like that. Because think of the things that you would say about yourself in real life to someone, and think about the things that you wouldn't, if you know what I mean. So if you're introducing yourself to someone at a party, it would probably be quite lighthearted, quite fun, quite short, nothing too revealing. So treat it like that, and steer clear of anything that's going to polarize you. So don't talk about money, don't talk about politics, don't mention Brexit or no. So keep it quite neutral just at the beginning.
Right. Okay, great. Andrew asks another good question here. How do I get my sense of humour and my kindness over in such a few short lines? That's a good one.
It's a really good one. This is one of the problems I think people face. It's kind of how do I sum up everything about me in words? So what I would say was, Andrew, show don't tell. Like, we don't want you to tell us that you're funny, because we'll kind of go all, well, surely that's for me to judge. So mention that you do stand up, or talk about the shows that really make you laugh, so someone will at least know that your sense of humours are the same. If you're kind and generous, then prove that by sort of mentioning any charity work that you do. And a word that's really good for men to include on their profile is family, because research has shown that men who use the word family in their profile get a lot of messages from women. Women, for us, we have to use the word gaming. That just gets the men, that brings all the boys to our yard. So I think it's words that are mainly sometimes associated with the opposite gender. They're the ones that when you write them in your profile, the other opposite gender kind of feels that you understand them. So I would show, don't tell, and demonstrate it.
Okay, great. Back to Carrie for another question. She's asking now, what type of profile is best, a factual one or a light-hearted one? Many people don't even seem to include a profile, and it does make life harder.
So, if you're finding that when you're looking through profiles, someone hasn't written anything about themselves, and that makes it very hard for you, I would say skip past those people, because it's not going to work out. And anything someone does that puts you off during online dating, start seeing that as a good thing, because if they're not taking the time to write about themselves or build a profile, I would kind of think, well, how serious about this are you? Or are you just kind of looking for fun and flirting and attention? I want someone who's spent some time. But when it comes back to what type of profile should you write, again, think about how you would talk to someone in person. So you probably wouldn't go too factual and heavy and serious. You'll probably be a bit more lighthearted, but give, again, examples of the kind of things that you like. So I would, again, pretend that you're introducing yourself.
Okay, great. Okay. Should people talk about their hobbies and their interests in their profile?
Yeah, but remember, you're advertising yourself as a partner. So when I was doing online dating, this was really hard for me, because, I mean, you've seen the books behind me. This is like half my books. I spend all my time reading, writing, or on the internet, which essentially means I'm a hermit. So if I were to put that on my online dating profile, I would sort of sound like, well, she's probably quite bright, but I'm never going to see her, or we're never going to do anything. So put hobbies on that will be fun to do in your relationship. So if you really like music, don't say I spend a lot of time alone in my sitting room listening to music. Say I enjoy live music, or I like going to concerts, things like that. Things that people can, again, visualize going on a date with you. Things that work well as a couple.
Genius. Any other tips?
No, that's it.
And what about you said earlier about asking somebody else to read your profile?
I totally, Julie, you're amazing. Right, get somebody else to read your profile. So what I find tends to happen, and feel free to comment if this is totally wrong, but what I have personally found when I work with people online dating is they get like their sister to read their profile, or they're so kind of shy about online dating that they get no one to read their profile, or they get an ex to read their profile just to make them jealous or something. Get someone that you would like to attract to read your profile, because you will not believe how much in common someone like your lovely platonic friend, who you would probably go out with but you don't want to, but someone like him you'd be really happy with, he will spot things in your profile that are putting off everyone else like him that you never would have guessed. Like the type of clothes that you're wearing, or the background, or a word that you've accidentally used, or you've come across a bit brusque when really you just needed to be sort of your lovely chatty self. Get someone else to read it and take their opinions on board. Because sometimes on a workshop that I do in person, we look at each other's profiles and the comments are unanimous, like, this photo is not doing you justice, or you come over as really serious, but you just made me laugh 3 times. So get someone else to read it for you.
Yeah, great. We've just had a question in, actually. Should you mention your children in your profile?
Yes, especially on a place like our time where it's people 50 plus. Yes, children absolutely do. I think that some people want to steer clear of using their children's photos on there, which I completely respect, for respecting your kids' privacy. But yeah, absolutely. Again, it might not be something that you want to mention too much in your profile, because your profile is about you as a person, But feel free to use the checkboxes, like I said, to say that you have children, to say if your kids still live with you, anything like that. Or if one of your kids has kind of bought your membership or met their partner doing online dating, so they encourage you to try, that would be like a fun thing to mention. Don't make it all about your kids, because you are looking for a relationship.
Very good point. Excellent. Great. I can now reveal, Kate, and to everybody, the results of our poll. We asked you about spelling. Would bad spelling in a dating profile put you off? The answer is unanimous, believe it or not. It's 100% yes. And I have to say, I'm quite relieved at this, because spelling, I felt a bit bad about it, but spelling's really important to me. I mean, probably because it was the only thing I was actually best at school. I can spell diarrhea, DIARRHOEA. Not that I've ever had to need it in life, but you never know when the opportunity.
Doesn't it always? There's a way of remembering it. Doesn't it always run really horribly over each ankle?
Oh no, that's true.
Put that in your profile.
Put that in my profile. But is spelling important to you? Very quickly.
It is. I mean, we're on the internet. Yes, you need to look professional. You need to look like you're taking the time. So what I would suggest is write your profile first in a word processing document, so that all those spelling mistakes are kind of savagely underlined in red, and then tidy it up and then copy and paste.
Okay, great. Before we move on to our next chapter, I have a question from Eva. Eva says, how do I explain in a non-bragging way that I look at least 10 years younger? People keep telling me I look younger. My age is 69, and I think that's too old. I'm embarrassed to admit that guys who are around 7 years older than I'm embarrassed to admit it to guys who are around 7 years older than me. This is terribly ageist, but it's how I feel. How do I admit and explain in a non-bragging way that I look really young?
Photos. It's gonna come obvious if you're honest about your age on your profile, but your photo is you looking this radiant goddess. Then obviously that's going to speak for itself. If you're finding that, if you kind of feel that you look much younger and maybe you would like to attract people that were as young as you look yourself, or you don't want people to get hung up on your number, then don't forget that Our Time does lots of live events as well, and they're starting back up now. So meeting people in person at like an online dating live event will probably work really well for you, because no one's going to ask you your age at an Our Time event. They're just going to be like, oh, who's that magical woman in the corner? I must speak to her. So just let your photos speak for themselves.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Kate. Keep your questions coming in, but now it's time for our third and final chapter.